Good evening. Oj Simpson, one of America's best-known sports and entertainment personalities. Reports and rumors about his possible connection to his ex-wife's murder are getting wide play.
All of his life, O.J. Simpson has been there for his loved ones. He has been a brother, a father, a teammate, and a constant supporter. O.J. played in the National Football League for both the San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. In 1985, O.J. was elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In 1977, O.J. Simpson met Nicole Brown at a restaurant where Nicole waitressed. Although O.J. had been married at the time, they began dating. 6 years after divorcing his former wife, O.J. married Nicole on February 2, 1985. Together they had 2 children, Sydney Brooke and Justin Ryan. Their marriage lasted 7 years. In 1989, O.J. pleaded no contest to a spousal battery charge. The charge was filed after he allegedly hit and kicked Nicole and told her he would kill her. 3 years later, in 1992, the couple were divorced. According to an online journal, Nicole's family says she had always been scared of O.J. In a letter found that Nicole wrote to O.J., she writes, "I wish someone could explain all this to me. I see our marriage as a huge mistake and you don't." Later in the letter, it is assumed that she is talking about the charge filed in 1989 when she writes, "But I didn't even do it after the incident. I called the cops to save my life whether you believe it or not. I didn't pursue anything after that. I didn't prosecute you. I didn't call the press, and I didn't make a carrot out of it. I waited for it to die down and I asked for it. But I've never loved you since, or it's never been the same." All information on the murder of Nicole Simpson was found on crimelibrary.com. At 12:10 a.m. on June 13, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were found murdered outside Nicole's Bundy Drive condo in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles. Nicole Brown Simpson's body was found in a pool of blood with gashes in her upper body. Ron Goldman, stabbed roughly 22 times, was found next to her against a garden fence. Nicole Brown Simpson's ex-husband, former football star O.J. Simpson, was aboard a flight with American Airlines heading to Chicago. Simpson had taken off from Los Angeles at 11:45 p.m. after getting a ride to the airport in a limo driven by Alan Park. The limo had left Simpson's home about a half hour late, after Alan Park reported at 10:25 that no one had answered the door when he rung the doorbell. Park noticed a man he figured to be Simpson enter the home at 10:56 p.m., much later than when Simpson had arranged to be picked up for the airport. When Simpson found out about the murder of his ex-wife, he asked 0 questions of how, when, and by whom. He caught the next flight from Chicago to Los Angeles, and when returning to his home, found a full-blown police investigation going on. When questioned, Simpson had told police he was in Chicago to attend a convention for the Hertz Rental Car Company, a company in which he was sponsored by, which when investigated more closely later on, was realized this convention was never a planned event. Eventually, police were able to collect enough evidence showing Simpson's responsibility in the murders that they were able to obtain a warrant for his arrest. Upon an agreement worked out with Simpson's attorney, Robert Shapiro, and law enforcement, Simpson was to turn himself in at the police station by 10 a.m. on June 17th, the day after Nicole's funeral. Simpson didn't show up by the agreed time, which then led police to inform Shapiro that enforcement would be showing up to O.J.'s home to arrest him. When getting to his home, no one had answered. Soon, officers and Simpson's lawyer discovered that Simpson had disappeared and attempted to run away, causing the most famous chase in American history. When police arrived at Simpson's home, they found a letter Simpson left behind, leaving clues to be a suicide note. The letter was made out to whom it may concern, saying, "Don't feel sorry for me. I've had a great life and great friends. Please think of the real O.J. and not this lost person. Thanks for making my life special. I hope I helped yours. Peace and love, O.J." Around 6:20 p.m., a citizen on the roads in Orange County saw Simpson riding in a white Ford Bronco with his friend, A.C. Cowlings, and notified police. Shortly after police had been notified, dozens of police cars and news reporters from helicopters were following in pursuit of the Bronco. The slow-motion chase finally ended with Simpson's arrest in his own driveway. After making the arrest, police found close to $9,000 in cash, a fake beard and mustache, along with a loaded gun in the car. After over a year of going in and out of the courtroom, a verdict had finally been made for the case often referred to as the Super Bowl of Murder trials. On October 3rd of 1995, America had gotten the answer they had been eagerly waiting to hear about for over a year.
And face the jury. Mrs. Robertson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information.
In an interview, O.J. admits that throughout his trial, his lawyers, who are often referred to as the Dream Team, encouraged him to write down all of his thoughts. In 2007, over 12 years after the trial, O.J. compiled all his thoughts into a book in which he named O.J. Simpson, If I Did It, Here's How It Happened. Shortly after, the book's title had been changed to If I Did It, Confessions of the Killer. The original release of the book was canceled shortly after it was announced due to intense public criticism. However, 400,000 physical copies of the original book were already printed, and by June of 2007, copies of the book had been leaked online. In the November edition of the National Enquirer, it is gossiped that O.J.'s health is slowly declining due to his poor health choices behind bars. O.J. is currently facing jail time due to a case not related to the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. The National Enquirer says that while behind bars, O.J. shouted, "I did it, yes. So what? And I'd do it again if I could." Through the evidence of his books and admitting that he himself did it, it can be confirmed that O.J. Simpson is responsible for the murder of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Ronald Goldman.